And we are live. You can catch us on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Kick, and Facebook. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Is it back to the front? Okay. And we'll be right back with you, Howlers. Be right back. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas, and you're up for that next.
Yeah,
one.
man, the co-host. Let's go.
Today.
Jeff Hamilton here with Dad Academy, man. What a dope night. First segment was cool, but we got the all-star, the HOB all-stars tonight. Let's roll.
Like we got the all-star team right now. This is dope, man. So I'm going to let you guys introduce your guys yourselves again. You guys been on the show before. I'm sure you guys have seen these guys. So we're going to start over here.
All right, I'm your boy Mario, host of the Alpha Dynasty Project and entrepreneur, brother. And good to be back. I don't know how many times I've been back here, but
welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Regulars. These are regulars.
Yeah. Wolf of West Coast. Dad, entrepreneur. Try to be a good guy. That's it.
whoop.
What's going on?
Esther Dad's a Spanish fly Chicano rap group. Dad, counselor. Glad to be back, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys coming. I feel like this is the all-star team right here. I'm so hyped up to have all you guys. I know that you guys haven't even met, so this is like really cool that all you guys got to meet. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, you guys seen each other, but haven't officially met yet. So
that's
cool.
a total dude thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, I know a guy. You need to meet this guy,
Yeah.
right? And that's the way that guys kind of connect. In fact, my wife, she didn't grow up like with any brothers. She's has two sisters of an only child mom. So like guy talk and guy culture is totally.
Yeah.
So like when I would leave on Saturday morning with my basketball, she goes, "You're gonna go where?" I'm going to the park with a ball. She goes, "Do you have a uniform?" No, I don't have a uniform. So who are you gonna play with? I go, "I don't know.
Somebody
just the dudes that show up at the park, right?"
Well, what's cool too is we have dads from different fields, different cultures, different views. I mean, from the rap game, the entrepreneur, like growing up in the streets. You know what I mean? The whole cartel style stuff.
Different generations in one
The
room.
white boy, the good white boy.
Yeah.
Athlete, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool. I think everybody can see things from different angles as dads, and we're all gonna have similar views, but different views on the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a whole strategy that we had last month when I was on, and normally, shout out to Mel and Millie. In fact, Mel, thanks for setting everybody up and getting it all hooked up. But we're just talking about like there needs to be a place and a time, especially on this pod, where guys can just like listen to the ladies talk. Exactly right. Get in the chair and shoot it. And so, especially coming up to Father's Day, right? Shout out to Father's Day to you guys, man.
We'll get our mug. We'll get our mug.
Man, I don't understand. You got certain cultural groups that get a whole month, and I only get a day. What are you talking about?
I know. Shit.
Come on.
How's that work?
I was getting Happy Father's Day last Sunday, and shit. I was like, what? Why am I getting Happy Father's Day? Or it's Happy Father's Day in like Latin America.
Yeah.
It was like, why is it Latin America
okay.
last Sunday?
Funny, I got one too.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the?
So you are Mexican.
So I get
Mexican.
I got a couple of Happy Father's Day. I was
That's
like,
what I had, bro.
next week.
Vámonos,
In Colombia, it's already Happy Father's Day. I was like, oh well, shit, I'll take two.
So I was getting messages.
Shoot, I'll take
from
one,
Colombia.
right?
So I'm like, shit, okay. So I had to Google that shit. I'm like, wait, is it Father's Day? What the fuck? In Latin America. So I'm like, oh shit. Okay, good.
Yeah, so we just thought that we need to create a space that, and some of us, like, because Jacob creates this opportunity, we all kind of watch, right? We follow each other now on, like, social media and kind of comment stuff like this, and it's been cool kind of having this extended connection, but it does feel a little bit like a pickup game, right? Hey, let's throw the ball out there, get 5 guys on the field, on the court, and let's roll, let's play.
I like that. So how do you want to start it out? You want to ask them a question? How do you want to start this one out, Jeff?
Man, let's just talk a little bit about like how old our kids are. We're talking about like, man, being a dad saved me, right? It's kind of what. So let's start with you and like what's your story? What's your dad's story? How old are they?
All right, so I have 2 biological kids, 2 other kids that I help raise. So I have my son who's 30 years old. He's a father now of 2 beautiful daughters, which are my granddaughters. And I have a daughter who's 20 years old, also has 2 boys, so my grandsons. And then I have the other ones who are 22 and about to be 21 years old.
Hey, a big shout out too, because it's one thing to raise your own kids; it's another thing to be a part of raising another man's kids, right?
100%.
Yeah.
So lots of respect to you and to all the dads that do that out there. And so, things good with your kids?
Yeah. I was actually talking to my son. He's actually a truck driver, so he's headed to Washington right now. But I was talking to him. He's the one that, like I was telling you guys earlier, I was on a really bad path when I was a youngster. I was actually doing a lot. I was from the streets, right? I was handling business on the streets, doing all crazy stuff. At a young age, got into trouble, got shot, got stabbed, all that. I went through the whole process when I was a kid. So I was still very active in that lifestyle. And then my son is born. So that's why I call him my little savior, because when he was born is when I started calming down. I started kicking back, and then it was like, I wanted to
Is his name Jesus?
No. His name is Anthony. He's Anthony, Mario Anthony. Well, Junior. But that's when I started calming down. Then my daughter was born, and the princess was born. So I was like, crap, I gotta really calm the fuck down. And that's when I just started. That's when my life started changing. The path started changing. I mean, I still kept in touch with everybody else, but now it's like the priority was them.
Yeah.
It was like I gotta be around for them. So in the event that anything happens, I gotta be there. And if I'm out on the street, something happens, I might end up in jail or dead, and they ain't gonna have a dad.
Yeah.
Right.
The 2 oldest are your biological?
No, yeah, those are my biological.
How old are you, fucker? You look good.
Thank you, brother. I'm about to be 50, bro.
You gotta be 50?
Yeah.
I thought black didn't crack. I need drink some
Bro,
more
man.
Brown was down, bro.
Yeah, I need some more.
Now I'm
Coronas.
feeling like I need to start applying for Social Security already, man.
What's going on?
He's talking about like 87 grandkids. I was gonna be like, man, I should have been Latino. I could have got ahead of this game, man. I'm about to have my first one in August.
He's about to tell me he's about 61. Bullshit.
I've been drinking the wrong Jamaica. Shit. Well, okay, continue. I'm sorry. I'm just looking. I'm starting doing the math.
What do you have when he was 10?
Yeah.
No, so I had my son when I was 18 years old. Wow. I was 18 when I had my son, 20 when I had my daughter. Then I went a long path, fucking around and acting a fool. And then I ended up getting together with my second wife at that moment. And then she had 2 daughters. So then I got them when they were young, and then just started raising them from there.
How young were they?
They were about 3 and 5, I think it was.
So I know you have the rest of your story, but taking in daughters are harder than taking in
Bro.
sons. I was at teenage years with somebody else's daughter. Did it affect them? You not like as they get used to you. Yeah, your dad, but rebellious is rebellious. How was that?
You know what? I think for me, it was always I guess with them it was always like, okay, I got to be the strict one, because she was very passive, and I'm like, no. So even when they were young, I made it a point to treat them just like my kids. So I made it, there was no, if they try to talk back, I put them in their place just like I would my other kids. So I treat them the same way I did my own kids, right? So because of that, there was never that the lashback or never, anytime I said something, they'll listen more to me than they did to their mom.
Well, you shouldn't call them the other ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
yeah, you're right.
You're like, the other ones are this age.
It's because a lot of times, well, you know what? They're all the same.
I got a lot of respect for that too, because that's my brother's story.
Yeah.
My brother was divorced early on in his life and didn't get to have any biological kids, and he put off getting remarried because everybody that he would date or come across already had kids, and he didn't want that baggage.
Yeah.
And it was crazy how he reconnected with a friend from high school who her life was really crazy. Had a child out of wedlock as a high-level college athlete. She's pitching in like the College World Series in softball, 6 months pregnant. And and then she marries a guy from the neighborhood, and they have a kid, and then that marriage falls apart, and so now she's got two kids from 2 different dads. Then she gets remarried to a guy who had already raised his family. He didn't think that she could get pregnant anymore. She has 2 kids by them, by this guy. And when when she's pregnant with the second little boy, he dies of cancer and leaves him with $1 million, leaves her with $1 million IRS bill.
Fuck.
Her life is just, so she's got these girls. She's navigating relationships with dads. The little boy's dad dies, right? And crazy thing, 2 years later, my brother and her reconnect. There was no intent to date or anything. But the first time that she introduced my brother, his name is Brad, to her boys, they were like going to the beach or something like this. And her boys' name is Christian and Cash.
Yeah.
They're now 18 and 16. And she said to the littlest one, Cash, go tell Brad to help you, get your towels and stuff like this. And he walked in and said, Dad, will you help me get my towels? He didn't, and has only called him Dad his entire life. And they got married. And a year later, at 45 years old, my brother has his first biological kid.
Oh, shit.
And so, but it's been amazing, his relationship with the first two girls.
Yeah.
He didn't try to be their dad,
Yeah.
right? He wasn't, they were already, they had dads, they were already being
Yeah.
raised. He told me, like, man, my only job is just to let them know that I'm here for them and
That's
to cheer them
exactly-
on.
That's exactly
And
what it is.
so like when you're telling me that you raised another
Yeah.
man's kids, like I hold that in respect because I've watched my brother's journey
Yeah,
for the last
100%.
20 years
Yeah.
do that, and I just honor him and the relationship that he has with them, right, has paid off.
He was what they needed him to be. If
Uh,
they needed him to
yes.
be a dad,
Yes.
full-fledged dad, he was there. If you need me to be mom's boyfriend that has a dad role, he was there. And respect to your brother and also you for the fact that he was able to kind of understand her. Because if you put it on the surface on paper, somebody can call her, oh, she's a hoe. She has 3 different baby
Oh,
daddies. and
bro.
4.
Yeah.
But her whole situation just happenstance.
She used to say, like,
She just
I'm the
happenstance.
woman that no pastor wants to see walk through their church
But-
because the story is so scary. But like,
Yeah.
But it
that's
was
real
happenstance.
life, man.
She didn't seem like she was just fast.
No,
you had
no.
one kid, and then the college thing happens.
you make a mistake,
and then
you get married.
Then
and-
you think you're good, and he passes away. But on paper, 4 kids, 3 baby daddies, you come off as somebody.
Yeah.
But your brother was able to take her as a person, listen to her story, and see her for who she was, and then made a family out of it. So shout out to him. And
Bro,
then
they
shout out to you because
and they
raising
keep
daughters
building
is
community. Yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
People are scared to raise their own daughters, so to raise somebody else's is, man, hats off for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
it's
sure.
It's you got to be, and I always tell everybody, right? You got to be ready for that because even as a man, you get a lot of lashback from everybody. Like, oh, how the hell are you gonna raise somebody else's
Right.
kids? How you gonna, you hear that a lot. But to me, it was always like, shit, who's raising them? You or me? Like, I don't give a damn what you say.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it comes down to who's the one that's gonna pay the bills, you or me?
Hey,
If you're paying
no,
the bills, then,
no shame to the
No.
ladies, but I mean, all of us have watched the dating relationships foolishness that
yeah.
goes on here, right?
Yeah.
And we could just go around the
Yeah.
table,
Yeah.
like, and every one of them, and it's not accusation, it's just reality. No dad.
Yeah, that's the main
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
Even I noticed if there's a dad or a father that is in their life, he abused them, or
Correct.
some type of man abused them, and that's almost
Right.
I want to say 99% of a lot of the girls we've had on the podcast. That's what I've seen,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it kind of trips me out. It's like dates too. All these dates I've gone on, all the same thing. I'm like, these girls are so like toxic, and there's so much things going on. Then they were talking, and that's what I usually find out.
And it's not their fault that they're talking. I mean, they got to take some responsibility. But
Yeah.
when you're raised with a deficit,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So again, standing in the gap for somebody else like that kind of, and for any of the dads that are out there watching, like
Yeah.
that's some honorable stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like it's hard enough being a dad,
Yeah.
taking on responsibility. But I mean, I think that's really what what a man's designed to do. You're
Yeah.
designed to take on responsibility for people, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, like what you're doing with counseling kids at the school. Like that's
Yeah.
what we're really designed to
Yeah.
do.
We're hardwired for it.
Yeah. What about you? What was your?
So I have a 9-year-old biological son, and then I have a 17-year-old daughter and a son who's 15. Those are my niece and my nephews. So when they were born, my niece was born. My sister, I love her, but she was a fuck up, right? Running the streets. She had a kid. Both of her kids she was pregnant with while she was in jail. So when she had my niece, and she would only be in there for 4 to 6 months at a time, but she liked to run the streets. So she wanted to be the person that. So we were black kids that grew up in San Isidro. So we grew up by the border. So, and the rest of our family are
Whoa.
gang members and all that. So part of it was we weren't black enough. We weren't niggas enough to be like with the real niggas and shit. So as soon as she met some of the black kids, she would overcompensate by wanting to be extra. I'm the street kid. No, I could prove myself. And so she would run the streets. So I'd get out of high school, and my niece, my sister would leave her with this 12-year-old girl from the apartments who's probably on the spectrum. And so I would go get my fucking infant niece, and that was it. We made a connection, and so I'm propping up the bottles at night. Me and my mom are pretty much taking care of my niece. That we're the ones doing it. Fast forward 2 years later, she has my son, baby daddy. He already had 4 kids before having my niece. His first kid, he was 12 when he had his first kid in Washington, and he was never going to be a dad. And to this day, I tell my niece and my nephew, my son and my daughter, and for this thing, I'll call them niece and nephew so we can separate it. I tell them, I was like, I love your mom. And I'm not telling you to like be mad at your mom, but don't be mad at your dad for not being a dad. He was never going to be a dad. Your mom understood he was never going to be a dad. You were his 5th kid. He wasn't a dad to the other 4. She chose a man who was never going to be a dad to have a kid with. So nobody's shocked he's not a dad. He never planned to be. He never signed up for it. He never was going to be. I was like, and I told my sister, you should be ashamed because you hated our dad for not being there and went and had kids with a nigga that was going to be just like your daddy. And I was like, kind of like, how you going to put your kids to the same shit that supposedly, you hated growing up? So it was always me. So the first 6 years of my niece's life, 6, 7 years, my sister never spent a whole year out of jail. So it was always me. Me and my mom. If I had a girlfriend, we were going to eat the Denny's. It was me, my girlfriend, and my niece. Right. And then my nephew was born, same thing. And I always felt bad a little bit because, I'm got these women in my life, but it's like I came with kids without having a kid. But to me, it is what it is. If you get to be with me, not have to be with me. So if you don't like it, arrivederci. Right, because these kids come with me.
Yeah.
And so they live with me, and then we finally separated. My mom had my nephew, I had my niece. And then it was like, okay, we'll get them together on the weekends. My sister was out half this time. She's just downtown San Diego fucking doing whatever. And see her kids on the weekend. I was like, you shouldn't be babysitting your own kids. I should see them on the weekends.
Right.
But it is what it is. And so when they turned 7 or 8, she finally stopped going to jail, and then took them to fucking Vegas. And so she took the kids. But I still been, baby daddy this whole time. All the cars, apartments, money. They're at my house right now, my niece and nephew. I just evicted my sister last year out of my house. And now she's homeless living with my mom. But my kids live there too. So she drives up an hour and 10 minutes to drive them up to school every fucking day. And the car I also gave her, but mad at me every fucking day because I kicked her out. But she stopped paying rent for 6.5 months.
Right.
What the fuck what do you want me to do? She made me evict her legally and all this shit. But those are my kids. So my son called, go, your sister's in the room, your brother's in the room. And so a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, and my 9-year-old. And people always ask me, why do you have like a 4 or 5 bedroom if it's just like you? I was like, because I always have to be ready for my kids. My money is remote. I was going to move to Texas, move somewhere else, Argentina, anywhere. But I always stay close enough to Vegas at that point because at any moment, my sister, she decided to be, what's a nice way of putting it? Fuck the nice way. She's a hoe bitch. So she's a prostitute. She doesn't pretend not to be, and I have no shame. That's what you want to do by all means. There's girls that fucking every single day broke. If you're going to fuck every single day, might as well get paid. Whatever. But because of that lifestyle, it limited where I wanted to live. She never knew I thought this way. But I can't live in Texas. I live in, Murrieta, San Diego. I'm always 3.5 hours away from Vegas if I need be. She's been attacked by these tricks. She's been in weird situations. Her homegirls have been lit on fire and beat up by their pimps. I always had to be within a drive distance to Vegas to get my kids. And I finally, bottom line, her to move out here because she went homeless out there. And I was like, I'm not going to help you unless you move back to California. So at least my kids are back here. And they go through it right now. And I feel bad because they don't stand up to their mom, but they hate being homeless either.
Well,
and they can't. It's
well,
kids.
man, I want to go back to something that was really powerful though, because a lot of peoples, a lot of cultures talk about, generational trauma. We're not saying that those kind of things are not real.
No,
Poverty,
they're fucking real.
poverty and trauma, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that doesn't really get spoken about is the kind of generational trauma that you just described with children, having children, being ill-equipped to be able to care for the lives that are brought into the world, and the way that keeps replicating itself.
Mm-hmm.
The statistics on being a teen dad, how your child, it's very similar, right? If you have if you're a kid, Jacob and I do some work with kids who have parents that are in prison. We run a camp, Camp Agape, California, for kids who have a parent that's in prison. 2/3 of kids who have a parent in prison will go to prison. The numbers are very similar. That if you were born to a teenage father, if you're a boy, you'll be a teenage father.
Yeah.
The numbers are almost exact. Because we talk about like it's crazy. The Bible does really talk about the sins of the father get passed down through the generation until somebody, most of the time, a man steps up and says, "I'm going to break this."
If nothing changes, nothing changes. And a lot of times we think because we got older or we know better, we knew not to do a lot of shit we did. It didn't make a difference. Something has to.
It's true.
There's a line where what we know plateaus and action has to start. And most of the time, one parent will be like, "Well, I'm doing better than my parent." So yeah, but by a little bit. But you're not doing better enough to change the generational trauma. So what I'm trying to do with my son is completely like I've flipped this bitch on his head because it wasn't enough. Like I saw my niece and nephew are growing up the same way I grew up. My sister is very similar to my mom. My little sister, who didn't grow up with my mom, is still similar to my mom. And I told my mom, I was like, "I love you, Mom. You're the common denominator. We all have different dads. All my sisters are like you." I was like, they don't have we have only one in my entire like intermediate family. We only have one example of marriage. My uncle and my auntie are married, and they lived in bushes growing up. They were on crack and in and out of prison, writing each other letters, and yet that's the only example of marriage that we have. And I told my sisters, I understand, like you guys don't have any. My mom is not married, and my grandma's not married. They've had boyfriends. And even my mom to this day, she's like, "Oh, I kind of I want a companion. Maybe not like somebody, but I want a companion." I was like, "Mom, respectfully, you sit in your room all day and binge watch television shows. You live in a small apartment. You don't really work hard." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Becky, when you're in your 20s, you're the woman with the apartment. So a 20-year-old dude to see you have something to offer. Shit, as a 20-year-old guy, you got to grow with an apartment. Shit, I'm going to talk to her." I was like, "Even in your 30s, you fuck with only busters. You have an apartment. You got a little job." I was like, "The problem is you're 50. Every 50-year-old woman has an apartment. What reason would a guy have to fuck around with you outside of just pussy?" And she doesn't, it's a tough conversation to have with your mother, but I was like,
This is a
But I'm
funny thing to
honest
say
person.
right now, but like for people who like, we're having church right now because what we're really talking about is like how do we break those cycles? If nothing changes, nothing changes, and like. I don't know how you guys feel about like spooky moments, but there are moments that all of a sudden like God rings my bell and just says
100%.
you need to pay attention to this. And there's some dude watching right now.
Yeah.
There's some dude watching right now who just heard that nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
And this is a wake up bell for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're hearing the stories of guys who had to make changes, had to make sacrifices, had to identify patterns in your life, and you've already identified them, and you won't do anything about it. And the 5 guys are sitting here right now. We'll look in the camera and say, "Get your crap together.
DM one of
Make
us.
the
I
change."
swear, DM one of us.
Exactly right.
We got
Yeah.
you.
You can
Because
do
we've
this.
all done it, and we're not there. We're not even all the way there yet. We're just ahead of you. But if one of those guys are like, "Well, it's not that easy." First thing, one of the mantras of Wolf of West Coast is, "If it's not easy, do it hard." The fuck does easy got to do with anything? Because it isn't easy sometimes. But who
One of the
cares?
things I tell men all the time, especially like coaching high school,
Yeah.
as a man, you were made to do hard things.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
You were not made to do easy things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're designed physically, emotionally to nut up and to go through hard stuff. So stop whining and being a little baby about it when hard stuff happens. That's what you're made for. That's the only reason we need you.
I think we get weaker when things come easy.
Bro,
We
Yeah.
become
do.
softer and weaker, and that's the reality.
Well, you can tell right now. Like I sit on the couch and leading a sedentary lifestyle, working on a computer all the time. You don't put your body under stress, and it starts failing you.
Yeah.
But
Right?
even-
What are they saying right now? That sitting is new cigarettes because it's killing more people than
Yeah.
all that other
Yeah.
stuff,
There's a
bro.
lot of shit. They say I'm gonna get
Oh,
to
no,
you.
you're good,
But
man.
there was like a proverb. I'm gonna fuck this up. But like the sheik that walks through the desert, his son has a Porsche, but then his son has a Honda, and then his grandson walked through the
Yes.
desert again because hard times creates good strong men, but strong men create easy times, and the easy times create
Yes.
weak men.
Yeah.
and
Weak
that's- and
men
that-
create hard
Yep.
times, and then it's a fucking perpetual
Yeah,
That's
circle.
a fucking
cycle.
circle. That's a
And
cycle. Yeah.
I try that with my son right now. Like my son right now he can't get an oatmeal cream pie, a soda, juice. He can't get phone time. There's an app, by the way, where you can dial and get the name of it, where you can set where it watches you and you have to do a certain amount of push-ups or whatever to unlock your screen. And so he has
No
to,
way. That's
and,
so,
yeah, he has to send me.
Don't tell my wife that.
I like
if I go
that.
down here, so this is him doing push-ups right here. So if he wants screen time,
That's
juices,
beast.
or anything, he has to send me push-ups. He has to do planks, anything. Nothing's free. And the reason I like that is because he's growing up easier than I did.
Yep.
He has no idea. And I'm like, okay, I got to somehow create this. I got to manufacture that dog in it.
Yeah.
Dude, we're like on the same level on that. So
Yeah.
my kids, I feel like they were the same thing, growing up softer, way easier. They have no cares in the world. My kid's in boxing. He was at boxing for 3 hours today. Him and my daughter were boxing this morning. I dropped him off at 8 o'clock in the morning. Boom, boxing. They're at wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I'm going to find things to make their life hard.
You got to manufacture these tough moments.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yes.
a mix, and people always ask me, "Oh, how'd you end up successful?" I went through a training program with a bunch of college kids, and I knew I was going to kill them because they were complaining about like rude customers in the field. Like we're doing sales and shit. I'm like, rude customers. My grandma talks to me worse than that, homie. I was like, I can learn all the book stuff, and I was educated. I was like, I can learn that. You can't learn the way I grew up. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to destroy these people because they're best of both worlds. And I'm trying to make sure I manufacture that within my kid. And it's, easier said than done because sometimes, no matter how you manufacture it, it's still not the same dog as that kid, in Brazil, that kid. I grew up by the border. These kids coming from the other side.
Right.
There's a kid as we sit here right now at 8:49. There's a kid standing on another kid's shoulder right now in the TJ line, both juggling 7 balls.
Yeah.
They're going to jump down and do this, hoping for $1. There's nothing my son can do that's going to outwork these kids.
Yeah.
He's going to have to just have that. We have to build the best mindset because if those kids had the opportunity he had, they're going to kill him because for them, it's everything. For him, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
But why? I mean, I'm totally convinced that that's why God gives men children.
Yeah.
Because it's the hard thing that shapes you.
Yeah.
Right. We can pursue things in our career. We can pursue things like physically and mentally to get stronger. But the kind of self-sacrifice it takes to raise and to make a difference in somebody else's life requires an incredible amount of self-sacrifice and of hard work. And the hardest work, right, is the long payoff. Because you don't get paid off. You don't get paid off.
They're
in a
mad at
month,
you. They're mad at
right?
you this whole time.
You had to talk about, like you and I are going through it right now, right?
Yeah.
I got 30-year-old. The joy of all the hard work you do as a dad is now getting to be friends with your kids.
Yep.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah, then,
Men, it's our job
We're
as
pissing
men.
them off.
It's our job as men to plant the seeds of trees we might not ever see the shade from.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And we have to accept that. And if we can get the shade, that's a luxury. But we're gonna plant the seeds all the same.
Yep.
And it's not easy to think that again. My son might not like me,
No.
but it's okay. I'd rather him not like me and not be suicidal because adulthood is hard.
Exactly.
But that's what it comes down to. But like you were talking about, this young generation, and I think that falls on the parents too, bro. When you when these tablet kids that are being created, that all they do is sit behind the video games, playing the tablets and all that, you're raising them to be weak. I mean, we weren't raised with that. We're raised on the grid. You freaking you fall, you get up. My advice, the advice my dad used to give me is, you never start a fight, but if a fight comes your way, you finish it. And if you don't finish it and you come home, I'm gonna kick your ass.
I
I
used
was
to
like,
get my
well,
ass
shit,
whooped.
my dad has some big ass hands. He's gonna whoop my ass. This way I can take it. So that's the way we were raised, right? Gracefully, my kids were, and that's the one thing I say too, right? Kids need to experience some sort of poverty to an extent when it comes, to like not giving them everything they want. My son at 17 said, "Pops, I'm going to the military." He signed up, and boom, he took off to the military. My daughter at 17, going into 18, said, I'm leaving to college. So she ended up in Virginia because she wanted to be independent. Those are the things that matter at the end of the day,
They
right?
do.
So it's like that builds character, that builds them strong. Like I know
That's
my
what
son,
you raise them to do.
So it's like, and I'm gonna give shout outs to their mom too, because their mom is fucking a beast. They have an amazing mom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, yes, it's been part us, and I haven't been the perfect parent either, like by any means, right? But they also had a great backup and a mother that's been great too. So both of us have done our work. But I always tell her at the end of the day, you're the one that put in a lot of the work, because she's the one that used to whoop some ass.
Yeah.
Hey, let's pass the baton too, because this is gonna go deep.
Yeah,
man.
I
This
can
is
tell
gonna be
it's
good.
already,
This is gonna
yeah.
be good already,
Yes,
man.
You can't
so
put Magic Bird and all in one room. So
Hey,
Let's
SA
go.
Daz.
Yeah, my daughter's 5. My daughter's 5. Yeah,
There
she's
you go.
5, man. Yeah.
I do got the book. I
Yeah.
have the book,
I
bro.
did the book, but I never wanted kids. I mean, thinking now, I'm like, I
You like
remember,
making them.
I like making it. No, but I remember middle school. I remember
Yeah.
having a girlfriend, and at that moment, I remember I did think of like, maybe getting married, that kind of thing. Then I got my heart broken. Yeah, and then I remember that switched for me, and I kind of, I'm not proud of it, but I became like, went to college, became like the player guy. You know what? No one's gonna hurt me, and I'm gonna do my thing. And so I remember just not proud of it, but just doing me. Not wanting children, not wanting the marriage life. The guidance I had at that time was a cousin from TJ. He was like a player, guided me in the. I'd be in the hood. He'd tell me, "Hey man, this is what you're gonna do. You protect yourself. You're a good looking guy. You're gonna get the condoms." Like he just set me up for that. Right? I remember that. My dad, I remember hearing, was a player growing up. All this stuff around me, they were all players. And I kind of like, that was my guidance, man. I'm going to be honest. And I just remember never wanting kids, just doing me. I did have girlfriends, but, like I said, I'm not proud of it. I just didn't care. So when I hear like the culture now, I'm like, damn, but we didn't have social media in the 90s.
Right.
I was wilding out, man. I was wilding out just.
Those 90s were crazy, bro.
You know what I mean? Just
I
doing
think
me.
the 90s were, tried the 80s too.
I bet.
I was at the
bet.
at
You
the
know,
end of the
So
80s.
so what happened when you had your daughter then? How did you feel?
When I had my daughter, man, I was just, first I was like, I couldn't believe it, but when I had her, I mean, it just changed my life in a way where I was always like a selfish kind of guy. As soon as I had her, man, it switched.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That was the biggest deal, because I was always and I used to admit it to the girlfriends, like I'm a selfish dude. I'm gonna do me. I had her, and it just, everything shifted for me, man. And so like, we're talking about it changes your life. It changed my life. Like prior to that, just wanted to be the Chicano rapper and all that, cars and money, and I had that. I wasn't like super famous, but I tasted some of that, a little bit of fame, the women, the cars.
Recognition, yeah.
Yeah,
Clout.
and once I had her, that shit didn't matter. It was just about me being a good dad. And I had my daughter older, so I did a lot of things. Like, and once I had her, it was just about being there and trying to be the best father that I could be. Obviously, I don't know everything, but, and then being a single dad, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't work out, the relationship. At times you feel like a failure, like, man, I couldn't even give my daughter the family life, But I'm doing all right, like it's a beautiful thing to have her, and just to see her grow up, man, is just been a blessing.
If you don't
to
mind
me.
asking, like, what's kind of the housing situation? What's the custody situation?
It's pretty much like 50-50.
Good.
We didn't get married. That's another thing, and I don't know if how you say traumas and things. I never saw a good marriage growing up. Never. So I was like, I ain't getting married, So I was like, with the baby's mom, I did want to be with her forever, but I did say, hey, you know what? And then you hear, I don't, financial, all that. I said, hey, if we're together forever, we don't need to be married. If it ends, it ends. That was my mind state, right?
Yeah.
So when we separated, honestly, it worked out pretty good. We didn't we just were not compatible. But I didn't go through a lot of, thanks to God, like I didn't go through like the the finances or the house. I paid her some money, I owed her some money, I kept the home. And it was a clean separation. I didn't
That's
have that
cool.
kind of issue.
That's-
She
that's a
didn't,
blessing.
because I had friends and family members, oh man, you're gonna go through it. And they're going through it. Some people that I know are going through it now. We don't have issues like that. Like she don't fight me. We're very like, we didn't have to go to court. And when I, if she has something to do right now they're on vacation, my daughter's gone with her and the new person she's with. And she's gone. I get her. We got the schedules pretty well. If I need this day, we work it out pretty well, man. I don't really have issues like
Yeah, it's-
that.
You know
You
what?
know
That
what I
brings up
mean?
a
I'm
question.
blessed.
Oh,
I'm not
that
gonna
is
lie.
blessed,
I have
'cause-
a question
Yeah,
I'm
for you
blessed,
guys
like-
that you mentioned a part in this. I want to know. Each of you guys have daughters
Yeah.
that had another man
Yeah,
in their life that their mom got with.
Yeah.
yeah.
How was that?
How was that? Well, for me, I can tell you off the bat for me, bro. Like, the guy that helped raise my daughter is one of my close friends right
Mm.
now.
Was it like that always, or in the beginning? How was it?
No, at the beginning, obviously, it was a little different. Like we weren't talking much, but then again, even with my ex, I wasn't talking much. Then we kind of mended the relationship, kind of like you said. We became before the kids, we started talking. We started, becoming cool, and then we became like my ex is probably one of my best friends right now. If I call her and tell her I got stabbed, she'll pick me up, be like, take you to the hospital, what, right? So she became one of my best friends. And then as my kids got older, and he was there, I remember one time, and I could tell you this story. I remember one time I went up to him. We had a conversation. It was at a house party because I get invited to the parties at their house now, right? But it was at their house. I get to the house, and I'm like, shit, I don't want to go in because the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, this is their house.
Right.
But he's all like, oh, come in, bro, So I went, and I said, that's when, to me, that's what a man's supposed to do, right? You've had my kids, and you've watched over my kids when I couldn't, when I wasn't around. So for that, I got to respect you, bro. You never tried to claim that you were dad. You never talk shit about me. You never put me in a bad position. You've always been the neutral side, you know what I mean, for myself and my ex. So I got a lot of respect for you for that, brother. You know what I mean? So from that moment on, we started talking. We started shooting the shit. Now every time I go, he's all like, "Hey, Pedro, get over here, fool!" Like,
Yeah.
I got a cigar, I got a cigarette, let's fucking get a beer. And I get fucked up with him, right?
That's
So
beautiful.
my kids get to see that shit, and my kids feel blessed. Now my grandkids come up, and it's like they get to see all the family together. That to me is a blessing. So it's like it's a sacrifice that you have to make sometimes. Put that fucking stupid man pride aside. Work it out for your kids.
I was just gonna
And it
ask you
makes
guys
some
about
sense.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make it work. And when it works, it fucking works
What
perfect.
about you?
bro.
Because your daughter's still young, and
Yeah.
it being guys in the household, one out of every three fucking kids are molested, and
Yeah.
You're right.
it's a female. Even if it's a boy, but it's a female.
Yeah.
How was that in the beginning?
I mean, in the beginning, it was a little scary because, I didn't know if they were going to be together or it would end and then she got a new guy or whatever, right? So in the beginning, it was a little scary. But, when I would drop her off, I would just kind of look what's going on, just peep the game out. But I would ask my daughter a lot of questions,
Yeah.
right? And so at the end, I noticed, like, the answers she was giving me were like, he's a good guy. He's good to my daughter. My whole
kids
thing
will
was
tell
like, yeah, and I had conversations with her mom and everything was pretty positive what she would say. But in the beginning, it was a little scary. But I will say once I saw that, he's responsible, he really wanted the family life. Like for me, I just felt like, I'm by myself. I couldn't, I couldn't give her that whole family life. She's not seeing me with another woman. So for me, having my daughter in that home, with her mom and the dad, it was like a blessing to me because I'm like, she gets to see now like the family life, like like if they're like married, right?
Okay,
Like,
I didn't think of
wanted
it
her.
like that. It's
yeah,
good to look at it like that.
So,
I guess.
the way I
so
look
to
at
me, I couldn't give her that, but I want her to see that. I want her to see what a healthy relationship is like with her mom and this guy. And from what I know, soccer games, he's there. He's really cool. I'm like, okay. And I told him, all I want is, from what I hear, she tells me you treat her well. That's all I care about.
I
As
think a
long
dad
as you
in your
treat
life
my
is
daughter that
important.
way. And it's just thinking that one day I might be gone. Something happens. She's in good hands with,
That
The funny thing is that you say that is that's the one thing I think that I cannot give my kids is show them for me
yeah.
what a good marriage is
Yeah.
because I didn't do it.
100.
And even right now, like I'm just being transparent, but the girls out there, they're so trash right now
Different.
that I cannot. I'm not even like. Look, there's no good women out there, man. Like there is.
There
I'm just not
is,
seeing them.
I know what you mean.
So like I'm looking at it going like
I know what you mean.
I could be able to show them a good marriage, and I don't know, and that's the one part I feel like I really lack, and I think that's a big thing though,
Go to
Yeah.
Colombia.
because I do lack that. I
Said
know.
there's better women in Colombia.
Hey, listen.
where we gotta go?
That's a fact.
As-
Yeah,
as somebody
that is a
that's
fact.
been-
Right in town, baby.
Somebody that's coming up on 34 years of being married.
Wow.
That's
What's the secret?
like
Divorce a few
I'll
times.
That's
tell you.
good, man. I
I'll
admire
tell you
that.
what this. I'll tell you what the secret is.
Talk to us.
Is not saying yes to your feelings.
Mm.
I this is guy who said we gotta get over our stupid guy pride. You remember
Yeah.
right there. Like some of the times the guy pride, like I kind of thought like I was a good catch,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Tall, handsome, people like you.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
gregarious personality was like this sounds stupid, but like I loved my wife. I mean, the crazy story is we were only together physically, face to face, 30 days from the day we met to the day we married over
Oh,
a
shit.
6-month
Wow.
period. Like I met her, it was like I'm 26, like I'm ready to be married. I'm ready.
Wow.
You ready to get married? Let's go. But like back in those days, phone dating cost you like $400 on your phone bill,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The long
Yup.
distance.
Mhm.
But I didn't realize how selfish I was. I just didn't. And I was talking about that in our last, I was asking our last segment, like, what do you regret the most? If you could change anything, what would you change? I said, man, I wish I could go back to those years between 30 and 50 when my whole life was about me or trying to build a career, and that while I felt like I was a good dad and I gave good attention to try to be a really good husband, try to be a really good dad,
Yeah.
I also really wanted to be important. I also really wanted to be however you define success, right?
Yeah.
I was the kind of guy that was, kind of a smoozer. Like I'd be talking to you and after like 30 seconds, I would get bored and I'd see if somebody else was coming up behind you. I was just always concerned about how do I position myself? If I could go back, I would have been more, the word we used in the last segment, present with my family, present with my wife. There was an old coach, won a national championship with University of Colorado, and their only national championship. It was a really odd time. It brought a lot of African American inner city kids into Boulder, Colorado. That the racial conflict in the 80s and 90s there was crazy. Bill McCartney, there's a 30 by 30, one of those ESPN shows on him, but he just said like he won all these national championships, and yet during this time, he's supposed man of faith. During all this time, his daughter gets pregnant twice by two different quarterbacks at the school. Right, the first one, Salonise, dies from cancer while a senior. Right. Wow. So now she's a baby dad, lost her baby daddy. And then she gets pregnant again, like her dad. And he looked after winning the national championship at his wife. And she's like, my wife was gone. Like she was not there. And I felt in that moment that I had wasted my life. Wow. Like what so many of our successes, right? National championship football coach, right? Impacting all these young men's lives, changing culture in your community. Man, your daughter is not seen by her dad, so she's looking to be seen by somebody. Yeah. Your wife is totally empty because there's been no investment. And he quit. He said, because I needed to I needed to see the light come back into my wife. Yeah. Wow. And I would go back and I would wish, but I would really, I credit my wife. We both, you talk about the advantage of having a model, right? I had two grandparents that didn't get divorced. My mom and dad did not get divorced. There was both sets of her grandparents didn't get divorced. Her mom and dad didn't get divorced. Nobody's marriage was perfect. Nobody's marriage was easy. But that was just never an option for us. And I'm thankful that my wife, because there's plenty of opportunities, like I was enough of a knucklehead, like she could have been out of there. And there were plenty of times that you convince yourself, like, what am I putting up with this for, man? I'm better than this. So-and-so down the street is telling me how, giving me the attention that I think that you just don't give place to that kind of stuff. So just as each of you guys have taken on a responsibility for the people that are entrusted to your care.
Yeah.
Right. I want to tell you, you think being a dad is rewarding, and it is. Jamie, thanks for sticking it out with me, babe, because the greatest accomplishment in our life is what we have done together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's been every step of the way. And I and our marriages work. I joke with my wife. I've only had my wife tell me she was sorry one time in our whole marriage, because she's a people pleaser, and if something's wrong, that means something's wrong with her. So she can't ever be wrong, or else I'm failing as a person, right? So there's always kind of an excuse, or a kind of what we all compensate, right? Okay. And I remember the one time that I came to her and we were having a conflict. I'm like, you don't understand because you don't speak man. Because she comes from 3 sisters and only mom and all and I was just saying, you don't understand our culture. Just because I'm being direct doesn't mean that I'm being mad. It means I'm not being heard.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not raising my voice or becoming more. I deal with knucklehead kids all the time as a coach. I got to get cop on them every once in a while to assert my authority so that guys like idiots like us can turn. I said, that's a tool that I have as a man that you don't understand. And the problem is you only speak girl, so you're always trying to figure out what I'm really trying to say and not listening to the words of I'm actually saying. And when that dawned on her, and this was only like 2 years ago, and she came back and actually said, honey, you're right.
Stern doesn't mean mad.
I'm sorry. Yes. Direct doesn't mean mad, right? Intense does not mean mad. It means
Tell
I'm
that to
not
the
being.
last podcast.
It means I'm not being. Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta talk at you. And not to
I'm
you.
not being heard, right? Yeah.
You've been a connoisseur of coaching and developing humans in general. It doesn't have to be just because it's boys. Sometimes you know an algorithm that will get a result, and
Yes.
sometimes that's not going to be a soft approach.
Yeah.
But these days, it's anything that can invoke feelings within the other person means you're wrong. I might invoke feelings that you feel I'm being mean, but just because I invoke those feelings doesn't make it so.
Yeah.
I'm not. My intention is not to be mean. My intention is to get a result, and the result I need is understanding and this. And
Yes.
sometimes I got to be stern on this and direct and talk at, because talking to and talking soft already didn't work. I promise you, I didn't want to. I wouldn't get to this.
My goal wasn't to hurt your
This
feelings
is
or
not
to belittle you.
If this is the way I'm talking now, for a fact that I promise you I've tried the other way. You might not see it, but I've tried the other way.
For
I did not
sure.
wake up in the morning after 20 plus years or this years and all of a sudden become a dick that just talks crazy to you.
Right. And that's why kids need a dad, right? Sometimes you need a dad that is able to be direct. But on the flip side, I specifically remember a time. My son now is 6'4". I was always hoping that he would be like the next level athlete from me. I was not a bad athlete, right? Kid had a great baseball swing and stuff like. Poor kid did not have a competitive bone in his body. His heart is very kind, like his mom. You look at him, you'd think like, well, this is a dude right here, and he likes to surf, he likes to rock climb, he likes being a part of a team, but he doesn't care about winning. It's like not a. But I remember specifically pulling the cop mode on him when he was 3 because I was trying to get his attention. I'm working with teenage boys. That's how I get their attention, and I remember him as a toddler melting, like you just see the spirit drop from him.
Yeah.
And there's been times in his adult life that I address him like that, and I see that 3-year-old come back. So, sometimes, as dads, we do unintentionally give our kids baggage too, because as we're learning who they are and how to respond to them, we have to adjust our ways. But none of what we do, of any of the stories that we've told, and you need to, because these guys probably don't know much about your story either, none of what we do is easy. And I think what's so powerful is all of the different stories, there's a commonality to our experience as men, as dads, as caregivers, as providers, that is really important, that a lot of guys don't have an opportunity to hash things out.
Yep.
What's your tell your dad's story real quick. Tell your husband's story real quick.
I got married young. I was
9, 10, arranged marriage.
I was 25, but I got what my thing is I had like a messed up way of thinking. I really was thinking like I was running through women while I was with her the whole time, thinking, okay, if I get married, that's commitment. That's when I'll stop. I'm talking about to the last day of getting the day of marriage. I'm kicking chicks out of my house, like of the day. And so I started out completely messed up, right?
You're a piece of shit. You can say
Yeah,
that.
Hey, thank you for saying what needs to be said.
Cute version of it.
And then even my boy was telling me because
I hear that,
he's like, why are you getting married? Like you're doing all this. What's up? Why are you marrying her? And he goes, dude, your response. He told me this years later too. He's like, your response was the worst response I've ever heard in my life. He's like, you're like, she has good value. She's a good girl. She'll probably be a good mom. Like that. Like he's like, you don't love her. Like you just say nothing good about her. Like when it comes to anything else. And I basically said, I'm getting caught up enough where I'll probably lose her if I don't marry her by now. And she's the only girl worth marrying, basically. So I married her. Did not cheat for like the first few years, and realizing, because I caused all this trauma in her. She didn't know, she had suspicions, but knowing that you can't bend the fabric of reality and do the things you did and thinking that your marriage is going to be blessed. I just destroyed it, right? Trying to fix it for years, knowing that I screwed up so bad, allowing kind of things to kind of escalate the way they were because I know I messed up so bad. And I knew deep down she knew, but I lied enough where she couldn't prove it, but still allowed the marriage to keep going on. Wanted to leave, wanted to do all this stuff because I was just so sick of the argument. The argument was crazy to me. It was out of control crazy. I couldn't stand it.
We should cut this story off right now because I don't want your other co-hosts to have more ammunition, like to come at you.
They will. But then but then basically we ended up. I tried, a lot. I did try a lot, but I came in messed up. It was like I really feel like there was no coming back. She finally took off.
And even growing up, though, bro, I mean,
I never saw good marriages. I saw all bad stuff. Drugs. I grew up in a meth house. Drugs, alcohol, everything was around me. Yeah, it was just bad. But I didn't want none of that for my kids. I did with them. I was completely different. I wanted to speak life into them and them have a good life.
Is this the same person you had kids with?
Yeah.
You already had kids when you were cheating?
No. Yeah, not when I was cheating.
Oh, okay.
Not that he knows. So.
Yeah. So I married her, had 2 kids with her, and then we were together 14 years, divorced, and then So now I'm trying to be the best dad I can be. That's really what. And it's not even saying I want to be the best dad. I'm trying to do the best for them that I could possibly do. Yeah. Even when I was married, though, she knew. Like, that's one thing we can never take from each other. She always says, I would never, ever try to take the kids from you. You're an awesome dad. You love the kids so much. Same thing with her. She's an awesome mom. I would never. So the co-parenting is on point always.
That's good, bro.
There is no, like whatever's best for the kids. And that's kind of how we keep it. And I want to keep it that way as long as possible. Yeah. That's where we are able to come in and be able to do that right. And I'm trying to be the best dad I can be to them. That's my purpose, I really believe. Like, once I had my son in my arms and I seen him, I got to hold him for 2 hours by myself because she had a C-section, so she was getting sewn up. I'm just holding him. That's one moment. If I can go back in time, any time in my life, that would be the moment because it was
epiphany moment.
I was in awe the whole time.
You fall in love immediately, don't you?
I was just like
crazy.
Everything you said before. Like, you're looking at him like. Yeah. You're in love, and then you're in fear. Like, I have to do good. I have to be good for them. I need to be who I am not for this kid.
That was the first time I cried is when I held my son. I hadn't cried since I was 12 years old. Right? My mom, I remember I got in trouble at school. They called my mom, and she's soon kind of apologized for this, kind of. She had told me, she's like, I wish I would have killed you if I had when I had the chance.
Yeah.
And that was the last time it'd be the last time anybody can ever hurt my feelings. Because I don't think anything verbal anybody can say to me to this day, short of my kid telling me something, that would hurt more than that. So that was the last time I cried. Until the day I held my son, I was cutting the umbilical cord. I was crying, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I hadn't cried in years, and I forgot what that feeling was.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, it changed
Yeah.
everything. It was pretty much everybody. Good luck to you, but you get out of my way. If you're at work
Yeah.
and it's a promotion or something, get out the way,
Yep.
because I promise you, I would scorch earth this bitch for this kid right here.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Nothing else. And I started thinking, what was I doing before this?
Yeah.
Like, what was like my goals? Like, I wanted to like be rich or never
and
broke for
it's
what?
almost and
I
it's
didn't
almost like
understand what I
why.
wanted before I had a kid, because now everything is about my kid, and we're talking about like kind of being famous a little bit earlier.
Mhm, yeah.
Like, it feels good when people like you. It
Yeah,
does feel
it
good
does.
when you get that the edification, and it's fucking that dopamine
high.
rush.
Yeah, it's
it does
addicting.
feel.
It's a high,
It
sure.
feels great. So
Mhm.
I'm not gonna pretend. I don't want that, right? I'm gonna do live streaming,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna pretend. Part of me doesn't want the fucking attaboys, the attention, the
Yeah.
high fives. I am single, right? I'm gonna love the attention, but the other part of it is, unless I be an act, like it can also make money.
Mhm.
And like we're talking about, I'll be Tekashi 6ix9ine right now. I'll get a tattoo right now. If you pay me fucking $20 million, what do you want me to do? Right.
Yeah.
So if live streaming makes me money, great. But I'm not gonna pretend that it's not gonna feel good. But for you to not get 12 point, did you ever actually straight apologize to this lady?
Yeah, I did. I've done it like 3 times, and I literally was like, I'm sorry for everything. She cried because I was really not.
I appreciate you.
I
for that.
kind of how it ended. I was like, F this. I'm not gonna apologize for crap. I don't give a damn. But then there was a point where I was just like, you could feel the weight. I felt the weight so heavy.
How old are your kids now?
My son's 16 and my daughter's 12.
Does your son know this about you?
He knows a lot of it. He pretty much knows. He just chooses not to really hear it all. Like he knows the situation. He just seen his mom being kind of crazy because of what I did. And so I always tell him, look, dude, your mom had all the right. I'm not going to say that what she did was cool, but
Yeah.
you got to understand what I did to her head. You know what I mean? Like I really understand it more now.
The trust and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
The loyalty and the break and and it's like I really messed up her head. And I chose to not lie to any woman ever again after that. Not saying I'm doing the right thing, but I don't lie to these girls no
Yeah.
more.
For
I
what?
tell them it's a straight
Yeah.
truth on everything.
And I might need your help with this, but I was going to write a book in the past. So my original last name is Flint, F-L-Y-N-T, like Larry. And the book was, For Love, You Need Trust. Love, loyalty, you need trust, and it spells out Flint. And one of the chapters was like broken trust, and there's an analogy of like dropping a mug. You could put the pieces back together, you can glue it, but the trust, it never be the same. Yeah, the mug might work, but we're going to hold it different. We're going to operate around that mug not the same. We're not sure if it can hold water the same. And once you break trust, you can build back the best you can, but it will never be the
Yep.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't.
And what you did to that to your spouse at the time, you fucking broke every mug in the house.
Yeah.
And then you have a house full of broken mugs, and you want her to be comfortable every time she's drinking water. It was a tall task to carry.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys figured it out, but that's something for sure. I think your son, as he gets older, whether he wants to avoid it or not, needs to understand Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Old
Yeah.
school
No, and the
statement.
shit is you gotta be honest
Yeah.
with your kids, bro.
Yeah.
Like you gotta talk to them. I think I was like you. I fucked around a lot with my ex, but you get to talking to your kids, and you gotta be. I'm honest with my kids about every freaking thing,
Mhm.
right? So they know pretty much everything about me. So now that they're older, they're able to give me advice and talk to me. Hey, Pops, you got to do this like this, or Pops, you got to. But you gotta be, because the moment you freaking start lying to them or start bullshitting them around, they fucking know.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
they'll call you on it like every
You'll
single
create the
time.
monster you're trying to
Yeah.
avoid
Yeah.
in the first
Yeah.
place.
I want to press back a little bit on that idea because I do. So man culture. We talk about this a lot. Man culture is there's a book written in the 90s that talks about men are only valued for the gold that they produce, not the gold that they own,
Mm-hmm.
not the gold that they are. Right? That your worth and your value is inherent in you, not in what you do, not in what you produce. So when you live in I call it a perform for love culture, right? That's our whole system
Yep.
is built on this, right? Your value is based on what you produce, right? And ever more so now because we have algorithms that measure that,
Mhm.
right? We have dollar signs that measure that. Even as we were joking around before, you get merch. The more, right?
Right.
And so, but trust is a function of love, right? And so I think the two sides of love are, number one, the hardest thing that you ever do when you love someone is to own your own stuff and to sincerely apologize, and to change, right? The Bible talks about they call it repenting. Repenting isn't just saying you're sorry. Repenting means, no, I'm headed in a different direction. I'm not going that way anymore. The flip side to that coin, then, if someone says they're sorry, in fact, we talk about it in the book, how you create emotional intelligence in your kids. Emotional intelligence, I say, courageous people say, I love you, but courageous people say thank you, because gratitude is an important character issue.
Yep.
But so does you're welcome. Because if somebody says thank you and you're like, no big deal. Well, then I shouldn't have had to thank you if it was no big deal.
Yeah.
I recognize what you did, and I need you to acknowledge that I've recognized you.
Yeah.
Same with I'm sorry. What's the match to that?
I forgive you.
I forgive you. And the concept of forgiveness is actually canceling the debt. Now, there is no such thing as forgive and forget. You always remember, but somehow love has to your love for that, not the emotion of love, right? The value of love. You have worth to me, and our relationship has worth, and our connection, like, I'm not going to see that compromised. And so what I'm going to have to do, we may not be able to repair a new mug, but here's the new mug.
Yeah.
We're starting that mug's in the trash. Here's the new mug. We're just going to go through that as possible, because that's the only way that trust ever can exist. Because if not,
it takes two to shop for that mug.
yes,
You
it
can't
does,
just bring
bro.
that mug and be like, I got a new one. No, we both have to choose that we're going to get a new mug, and if it's the right mug, if we're going to use that analogy, because it can't be one sided.
And if we don't do, like, the importance is, to use the analogy, we got to have a crate full of mugs, because if not, what we'll do is we'll point at every broken mug and go, no, they're going to do that to me too.
100%. Each thing,
Right,
you
and
do.
that's one of the biggest challenges.
I knew we'll get along.
Yeah, bro. Well, Wolf, man, the first time you even like shouted out yeah, it was dope. This is a killer conversation. I want to ask though another question to you guys too, because again, go ahead,
queued up a
bro.
video for later. It's going to pertain to something we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
I have him queued up a video about like generation and how things have changed these days and how men need to be strong. So when we get to it, it's like a 6-minute video.
Well,
I think you guys will love it.
Let's answer this question. Let's go to it, because the question that I want to ask you guys, dealing with high school boys, especially high level athletes, I end up having kids that come to my school that are there to play athletics to create an opportunity for themselves that their family environment doesn't, right? So as a coach, you become a surrogate dad, right?
Yeah.
At the very least, a mentor.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Why do so many men run from the responsibility of parenthood? Why do you think that guys won't, like, we're not even talking about marriage. How many guys just are satisfied to, the only thing they know about being a dad is, I'm going to show my kids a good time and take them to Disneyland when I got them. We all know that the weekend play dad is not real dad, right? Because he never addresses anything.
No.
So, or I'm paying child support. You take care of, it's your job. Why do men are unwilling to embrace fatherhood? What is it about us and our character?
I think they're
situations?
selfish. Yeah. They're selfish.
What do you mean?
I noticed when I was young that I feel like we were looked at as burdens to our family. Like I know that they wanted to party more. They wanted to go out and be with more women. They wanted. I feel like I was a burden to my family. So I've seen a lot of other kids the same way. What I think it is they're selfish and they want to do what they want to do, and we're looked at. Like, I mean, I felt a burden, like I was a burden to my dad, you know, and I think that's what that is. I think they're selfish and they want to party.
I have an answer too.
Yeah.
obviously there's not one answer to this, but one of the reasons would be subconsciously. I think we as men, especially younger fathers, we as men already know life is fucking hard without distractions. Some version of us know we might not be good enough. We might not be able to do it. It's just going to make life harder. And then that leads to the second one. It segues to the second one of we're in a society where weirdly it's not like accepted, but it's accepted. If you grew up in a village where nobody ever left their kid, it is somewhere subconsciously leaving your kid would just feel like taboo. Like, who the fuck does that?
Right.
Seeing, deadbeat dads, being, baby daddy, just the term baby daddy itself, it's so widely accepted that it doesn't feel awful or so wrong to leave your kid. It's like, well, I mean, it's kind of the going rate. Like, it happens these days.
In some situations, moms don't even want the dads around.
Yeah.
Like because
That's a
they've
lot.
only seen deadbeats, right?
Yeah.
And so the way that they can protect and create the security for their own world is, that's actually biblical.
Yeah.
The story of Adam and Eve when they get kicked out of the garden, right? This is a really interesting story. You guys are like, they get kicked out of the garden, right? Forget about sin or all this kind of stuff. They're out. And the first description of a man and a woman being intimate together is in chapter 4 of Genesis. And it says, and Adam knew Eve, and they conceived, period. And then the next sentence is, and Eve said, I have obtained for myself a man from the Lord. Like, what's that? I've obtained for myself, not me and my husband.
Yeah.
What she's saying is, God gave me a second chance, and I'm going to make sure I raise this one not to mess up like the first one did.
Yep. Damn, that's like, damn.
Right? And so we have
The girls would hate that one.
we have cultures. Well, but
I know.
we
That's in
see
the
why
Bible.
that's a necessity, right?
Yeah.
We see where fear takes over somebody so much to the point that they have to control every dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have moms, and then if mom's going to go ahead and do it, and if I'm going to get criticized for every attempt I make to help, man, screw it. I'm not in.
Mothers do make it hard.
Yeah.
And that goes
At
to the
times,
first
for
one.
sure.
That's a-
Sometimes, and that'd be the third option. Some guys, they already know who they had kids with.
Yeah.
And
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say.
And
I was going to
they
say
know
that.
this is about the. And to be honest, a lot of times, unfortunately, young ladies, anybody watching this, I know it's probably not a lot of ladies versus men watching this, but you let your fucking punk ass mother, get in your head, or your friends get in your head.
Right.
And I know why I got pregnant, and I know how your mom is. I already know this is going to be a shit show of a ride. Because your mom's going to be weird. She's going to try to control it. This is my child. I'm not a second-class citizen. I'm going to control it. Now I got to argue with your mom every day because you listen to her too much.
Right.
And or Vita's Day. I can be the fuck out and send you a little check every here and there and call it a day. And nobody's, what are you going to do? Call me a deadbeat? That's normal for our societies.
And
So
that's
you see
all
what I
right,
mean?
right.
There's so many little tidbits that add into why it's easier. It's easy, not easier, but easier to step away. And again, stepping up is obviously harder. It's not a lack of love for the possible kid, but subconsciously, our life is already hard. Like, men are born at the bottom of the mountaintop. We got to work our way to the top.
Yeah.
I said this in other podcasts. Women are born at the top. They can only devalue themselves and work their way down. Subconsciously, we know life is already hard enough without distractions. Now I got to have a kid, and I'm 24, I'm 25, I'm 26 years old, I'm 18.
I'm 18, and I think that's another problem, right? When you're 18 years old, what you said first is the first thing that came into my head. Am I good enough? Am I going to be good enough to raise this kid? Like, I was there for my kids. I wasn't the perfect dad because I had as a kid raising a kid, right? Again, I was grateful enough to have, their mom, but I was like, shit. And then you get on top of that, you get people instead of rooting for you and saying, you know what, you're going to be a great dad. You're gonna make it happen.
And letting you make the mistakes that have to be made.
But then they start telling you like, oh, your kid's not gonna be shit. You guys are young. You guys.
I mean, you're 18. You better know how to make You better know how to make spaghetti.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a fucking child.
I'm a survivor. Shit, I make anything.
Right.
When I'm watching, I make some bomb ass
Exactly
quesadillas.
right. Exactly right, man.
That's what my son says. He's all like, all you did was quesadillas, pops. I'm like, fuck it, but you ate.
But it was the best fucking
But
quesadilla.
yeah, but the shit was.
I still eat them. What are you talking about?
while we were together, I mean, it was like she would go to work, I would go to work, I would work 2 jobs. Like, it was a constant thing. I'll babysit, she'll baby, like, we were living together, right? We had an apartment. When we broke up is when it got more difficult because obviously she kept the kids and is trying to be there for the kids and the whole mentality of like shit, like your boys are calling you up, maybe we should go out and party. You're single, you're still young, bro. Let's party, and you're like, okay, well, I kind of want to party, but at the same time, I need to be there for my kids. So it got to a point where when my kids were with me, I literally had to ask them for permission if I could go out, and that happened very few times. And I'm like, is it okay? My son will be like, just leave us money for a pizza pops. Cool, go have fun with your friends. I'm like, shit. My son ended up being like my dad and would tell me like,
be home at 1, man.
Yeah, I don't want you past 2:00. I want you here. So it
That
just
shit is funny.
is that right? It's the fear when you're young, and that's why I always tell everybody, and I'm grateful enough that my son had his kids had old when he was a little older in his late 20s. Same for my daughter, because they're a lot more responsible. And I'm like, before you have a kid, you kind of have to start setting up your nest and making it so when your kid arrives, you're ready, right? Because when you're young and you're 18, is like that's the first shit that pops into your head. Fuck, I'm 18. I have a part-time job. You know what I mean? What do I have to do? I have to slang in order to make money to be able to raise this kid. And then you got everybody telling you your kids are gonna be fuck-ups because how are you gonna raise a kid? You're a fucking kid yourself.
Because at that point, consciously for you and subconsciously, you knew it'd be so much easier
to walk away.
And you had a built-in excuse. Oh, well, I'm a man, I'm young, and then society wouldn't necessarily kill you because it's kind of normal to walk away at 18.
Yeah.
So you had every excuse in the world, and that's why I commend you because you had every excuse to walk away, way less excuses outside of just being a good fucking person.
Yeah.
Was the only reason you had to stay around, and you chose the one versus the litany of things you could have chose to walk away. And your kids are old enough to appreciate it now.
No, we talk.
And it's like, should they appreciate? You're a kid, you're a kid, but you shouldn't be appreciated for not walking away from your kids. It's like a going rate. But at the same time, you're getting to see some of the shade from the seed that you planted. Yeah. But you worked hard on those fucking.
Well, I think one thing that we got to remember too is that it seems like parenting comes more natural to moms, right? The nurture and stuff like this. But let me I'll share an observation, then maybe we can go to the video. But the number 2 killer of men in Orange County, right? And we talk about L.A., Southern California, shaping the culture. Yeah. I mean, Orange County as well, right? Surf culture, lifestyle culture, Housewives of Orange County, Laguna Beach, all of that kind of baloney, right? Right. Okay. The number 2 killer of men in Orange County between 35 and 65 is self-harm. Number 2 killer behind heart disease. Now, I've got some thoughts that I want to share on that, though. I think number 1, the divorce rate, right? There's not a guy who wouldn't say that this doesn't just complicate life. Yep. In an incredible, challenging way. No matter how well it goes, it still adds a complexity. Number 2, when your career maybe doesn't go the way that you assume, like at what point do we all just kind of look Mario right and just go like, this is my life, man. Yep. This is not as far as I can go, but like, man, how much more do I need? I don't need to be Bill Gates. I should have started that when I was 20, right? Okay. But all of a sudden a dude finds a job and hasn't found the kind of identity or fulfillment in his job. That's number 2. And number 3, because of divorce and because of the way that fatherhood is presented in our culture, if he's not connected to his kids in his later years in his life, I believe that a guy has not just less to live for. He's so disconnected from his purpose. Yeah. Our purpose is really not a career. Our purpose really is about shaping and the care and the well-being of everybody that's entrusted to us, whether it is the kids that you're serving at your school, whether it is our community that we built online, whether it's the employees that we have working for us. God designed men to make sure that not just plant seeds, right? Yeah. But we're the trees, right?
We're back to our primal as cavemen. As when we were still carrying spears, it was every person had a purpose.
Yep.
Hunter gatherer or not, you're always purposeful. You're doing something. Obviously, convenience as human culture has advanced, convenience is a thing. But I think primal, as you're saying, is we're still meant to consistently do something around making somebody better, making a village better. And so, again, if you don't have your kid, you don't have kids in your life, you don't have that thing that primarily it drives you.
Because all of us said that when we first held our kid, like our
Like I
life
said,
changed.
and every
Yeah.
man says the same thing.
Our purpose
And to
changed.
go to the first two,
Yeah.
depression, I always say it on the podcast, depression is a luxury for women. Right? Men have it, but we
Yeah.
cannot express it.
Bro, that's a
Oh, I-
whole
I-
pod right
Yeah,
there.
I talk
Go
on
back.
I talk on the pod about that shit a lot, and we talked about that
it is.
before.
But it gets deeper. So for women that hear it, yeah, depression is a luxury for you guys. Men still have it. So going through a divorce and or not having the career we want, we have the depression. The problem is we cannot express it and or show it. And imagine that, and then you add the fucking icing on the cake of then not being in a relationship with your kids, and not having your life's primal purpose. All that together sounds like a fucking recipe for
Well,
self-harm.
but life will be better for everybody if I'm not here.
And that's
It's a lie, because I don't care where we sit on the spectrum, the one thing that's going to make the difference in changing our communities and changing our cultures and changing our world is men who continue to step up with their own families and step in the gap, because there's always going to be void for men. Still will avoid their purposes, and they're going to need other men to step into those
100%.
those gaps.
And that's what's good too when you have like I've been thinking a lot about like the disciples and how they pushed each other too. Like they had to be able to talk to each other and communicate and fellowship and have community with each other. So it kind of I feel like even in the Bible there he's showing that you still need other men.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why teams and friends and like it's embedded. We think it's embedded into female DNA. No, man, the guy DNA. We just do it different.
Yeah.
And shoulder to shoulder and purpose to. But again, if you haven't ever seen healthy, if the only thing that you see is everybody hanging out in the corner drinking a 40, like that's not a healthy, healthy picture of or somebody gathering around the bong in the living room, or but even the flip side, guys showing off their suit or their whatever at the cost of their kids. I can't tell you how many private school kids who are affluent. Who are bigger wrecks than they're right.
100%.
Hard times create hard men,
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
right? Hard times create easy,
easy times and black.
Yeah.
But it happens, and I've been
For
around
sure.
privileged kids, and they are so fucking lost.
Dude.
They are so lost, and I feel, and it's like, damn, like you're lost because you had everything, and now then they got thrown into adulthood
That's why you
and
can't
told
give
to go
them
to college. But it's like, life don't give a fuck. Life is a vending machine. This is going to cost $1.90, and telling me how your daddy had something is not going to work. 98 cents and bitching about it is not going to. It won't vend. And 99 cents and saying it's so much more than the other person, that machine will not vend. It will wait you the fuck out. And life is the same way. It's $1 or it's nothing. And some kids are so used to only putting up 60 cents, 60% effort, because somebody else is always putting in the 40.
Damn.
Well, when you hit certain
That's
sports,
bomb drop.
Yeah.
it's
That is
like
true,
you say
bro.
with your kids in sports. I love when my son did football and basketball and all that, because I can't be on the court with you, homie. You're either good enough or you're not. This is football. Either you're gonna get smashed, or you're gonna do the smashing.
Yep.
This is BJJ. This is jujitsu. That kid is training. I can show you at home, but when it's game time, you have to. That's why I think sports are great and coaches are great.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, ultimately, to answer your question, I mean, that age gap, it's around that gap where men have our natural depression, but it is internal. We most of the time can't show it, and the only person we normally show it to are mothers half the time. And then by the time you get that age gap of 30 to 60, a lot of men don't have their mother anymore.
Yep.
And or don't want to burden their mother because they're going through it as well. So we eat that shit, but we're still going through that shit. And that includes your celebrities. Oh, how did Robin Williams do this? And how did Heath Ledger? And all these people, because they're going through it. They might not go through our version, but depression is depression.
Yeah.
Right? And
It's also what you find your identity in.
And that's why I think it's good too to keep good men, like strong men, like not yes men, men that will tell you what the F are you doing? Like you need dudes that tell you off, like that are your friends. That because if everybody's just like worshiping the ground you walk on because you're high status or high value in society's eyes, and you're not, and because I mean you own a business, you have employees, just everybody's worshiping you, but they talk behind your back because nobody likes the boss, right? But then you go out with your friends and they're doing the same thing. You're going to crash and burn. When you have guys literally coming up like, what are you doing, dude? You need to straighten up. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And like you said, iron sharpens iron.
You're
too.
the average of the company you keep.
Yeah.
And if you have a bunch of jackasses next to you, don't be surprised. Even if you're the main guy, it's going to be really hard to manage 5 jackasses. It will rub off. It's physics.
It's actually easy to
You're
do 5
right,
of them
you're
when
right,
they're all
bro.
the same.
That's what.
Without exposing one of them, I had a homie call me today. He was like, I was trying to see what's up with that Asian girl. I was like, what Asian girl? I was like, nigga, you're married. What are you talking about? Like, you guys want to have like me. My homies cannot cheat. They cannot. If you like have some little girlfriend you're just talking to, I don't care what you do. You have a wife and a kid, you cannot cheat. And I already told their wives, you're gonna know if your husband's cheating because either I stop talking to you or I'm gonna tell you. If I stop talking to you, you know what it is. I will not shake your wife's hand and do all that while you're ruining your family. Because I tell them, if your kids are hanging off a cliff and you're hanging off a cliff, who do you want me to save? They say my kids. With that said, I'm going to save your family first. So if you want to try to cheat, I'm going to shut you the fuck down because I'm choosing your family over your lust. So either don't tell me
Your selfishness.
Yeah, I won't help you do it, and I will try to stop you. I can't stop you from doing anything, but you might as well not tell me. You might as well. You're hiding it from me and your wife because I swear to you, I won't allow it whatsoever.
I respect that though
I respect
because
myself too much too. I cannot shake your wife's hand and know your kids.
exactly because you become a liar with them.
Yeah, I won't.
So like, what's the point? Like that took me a long time to
Accessory.
realize later on. Like I'm still a liar. You're making me something I'm choosing not to be anymore.
I'm an accessory.
So I'm
to
not
you
gonna lie
fucking
to
up
you.
your family, and that makes me just as bad. But it takes a village to raise a kid.
Speaking of a village, right? I want to you have one experience as a dad, but you're with kids every day for 9 months, right?
Yeah.
Middle school counselor in not a easy part of town.
Yeah.
So what kind of
Boyle
stuff are
Heights.
you seeing from
Boyle
kids?
Yeah. Oh man, a lot of things, man. I mean, where do you want to start? You know, like
Well,
mean, it's just.
Where exactly is it
I
that
mean, I've
you
been
have
there
these kids
for a
at?
long time, huh?
Where is it that you have these kids at?
Boyle Heights, East LA.
Hold on.
What's
Like
the
right in
hardest
the
part?
hood?
How about
Yeah.
this to break it down? What's the hardest part, or the hardest thing that some of these kids bring to you that made you have to really work on helping their lives?
To help
Some
them.
kids are easier to deal with. Some
Yeah.
kids come with certain type of, and then that right there, you would know what I'm talking about. What's that thing that some of these kids come with that you have to take that deep breath? Like, whew, okay,
Well,
this is one of those I gotta.
A lot of it we talked about the generations and their parents. A lot of them, you know, they poverty, right? So they probably want to be great parents, but they're not there. So you got those kind of kids, and the hard thing that I realize is to get them to buy in to what I'm trying to, you know, help them with, you know, to be better kids, better people, right? And you know, the neighborhoods have a hold of some of these kids. When you talk about the hood, right? Like I'm not with them every day. I'm only with them an hour, 2 hours, depending on who the student is, right? And then they go home. I mean, there was this kid I had. I lost a lot of them in that hood, but there was one kid. He was a 6th grader. I mean, you know the real ones, and you know the ones that are fake. This kid was real with it, right? And I remember him, and he was very smart, man, very smart. I put him. I was trying to help him out, so I put him like in an advanced class 7th. Everyone was against me. The prince, oh no, we can't do that. I'm like, nah, just let him. You know, he needs someone to believe in him. I put him in that class, man, and he was doing great. Like it was like the magnet kids, you know. And he was excelling, like very, very intelligent, math, everything, numbers. He was slanging, I knew that. But you could see, like, someone I believed in this kid, and he was doing really good. But what ended up happening is the influences. You know, it's hard. He had to go home, you know, and his family, I mean, he grew up in the barrio, like his dad, his uncles, like generations, right? And that was tough because, you know, before you know, his brother, matter of fact, his brother was in prison for killing a kid in that neighborhood and the girlfriend. Like, so his brother was already gone. And the hardest thing, like I said, is a buy-in. Like, it worked for a little bit. You know, I did use the rap music, like, you know, oh, that's so-and-so. And he would pay attention, like, oh, cool. But the outside influences got him. And he never came back to school. And in the end, they gave him a gun. He held it, had a murder on it, gone. You know, so one of the biggest things, the hardest things that you see is the buy-in. Like, who are you? You know? And so what I try to do with them, and it works, because on the other hand, I do have students of mine, man, they're 20s, man. They talk to me till this day. And they did go to college. And they did great. But what I noticed with this kid is he bought in. Like, you know, he was a little homie too, right?
Yeah.
But he bought into what I was telling him. I mean, I didn't tell him to do it. I just said, you know what, test me. Like, you know, you don't have to believe what I say. Just watch what I do, or watch my life. Like, they knew the music. They observe. I'm like, just don't literally take what I'm telling you. Like, test it.
Yeah.
And he did that, and he's doing really well, right? So you have and then you deal with some kids that come with another kid, man. This kid, this is crazy. There's this little dude. He was a little guy, and I remember he'd walk around in the campus. My principal, I was a new counselor, and my AP in charge of me. I remember this little kid would go around and cuss everyone out, just fuck you, and so everyone was like, man, what's wrong with you, you know? And I remember my principal was trying to school me on it. I'm a new counselor, and he brings the kid, and he's like, hey man, why you cussing people out, blah blah blah. And the little kid looked at him and said, man, fuck you, right? But like angry.
Damn.
And then my principal, like AP, said, no, fuck you. And I'm like, bro, I'm like, what the fuck, right? Like, I was like, oh shit. Long story short, he didn't realize, like, this kid, his mom was a prostitute. Used to take him out, having sex. She's fucking all these guys. He's in the back seat. He's right there. This little dude, you know, been molested, all kinds of stuff that he came with. That's the kind of stuff you deal with. Later on, that AP had a apology. He's like, hey man, they call me Ariano. He's like, hey, Ariano, I'm sorry. That was wrong. You know, you're not supposed to do that. Like, I already knew. I'm like, yeah, dude, that was, you don't cuss this kid out. But anyway, that little dude, he went to prison too. You know, so you have all these kids with all these things that come. So you got to know, you know, what they need. And that's the hard thing, because you can't come at certain kids hard, right? Like, I can't tell him, like, man up, man, blah, blah, blah. Nah, you miss them. So you got, as the hard thing where I'm at is, you got to know when to be that guy, and you got to know when to show empathy, you know, and be calm. And that's the hardest thing sometimes. But I would say that. And then I get a lot of suicide risk assessments. Lately, I've been having a lot of that, like kids wanting to kill themselves, girls, a lot. Honestly, a lot of females.
I was going to say that.
A lot of females. And not only that, a lot of females bossing up, fighting, and I'm like, dang, rougher than boys. Like, I don't know what it is.
Social media is not,
social media
not helping that cause at all.
Little girls like taking nude pictures, giving them to boys, and then they spread them. I'm like, damn. Like, so it's just things like that, you know, you're like, man, what's going on? You know, so it's a little tough. But then, you know, the community, and there's great parents too. Don't get me wrong. But you can tell the difference of the ones that are like the parent involvement. You know.
Sometimes success is chasing you, but your genetics are faster. It's one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard, because it's the truth. And that's somehow the jobs of fathers, coaches, influences is, okay, we can be a father here, we can be a coach here, but damn near geneticists, like, how do we tweak their genetics? How do we tweak, you know, kids are born with, I think, over 400 personality traits that have nothing to do with, like, parenting influence. But we have to be able to try to decipher. And when you're a new parent, a lot of times you don't decipher that until you already make the mistake a few times. Some of these kids don't have too many more mistakes left. So if you don't get it dialed down right away, then it'll be too late. And I know that might be discouraging, but I'm glad you have ones that make it to kind of balance out the scale, because you can't save them all. But everyone that you save, you know, you can hang your head on that.
Right.
But success is chasing a lot of us till this day for different things. But sometimes the way we grew up is just, it's faster.
Well, I love what you said about, you know, I try to show them, right? Because the old saying is that they'll listen to what you say, but they become who you are.
Yeah.
And then what I noticed, like, I had a mentor. He passed away about 2 months ago. My high school.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, he was Mr. Roger Neal. I gotta say that. Rest in peace, Roger Neal. He changed my life. You know, he was my horticulture teacher. Carson High School, man. That was like the knucklehead class. All the homies are in there. Horticulture class. But the way, you know, he did this one thing. He would, like, draw a pitchfork, like, on the chalkboard, and then clouds, right? And then you had all these Bloods and Crips and homies in there. And he would tell certain guys, like, man, you going down, you know? Like, hell, right? You know, it's messing with them. They laugh, right? But he always look at me, Ariano, you going up. And I'm like, man, what you talking about, right? But he took a liking to me, man, and he talked to me all the time. He's like, hey, I know you want to be a rapper, man, but check this out. Like, I see you you know, you can do a lot of great things one day. And I was like, man, he planted that seed in me, right? And in the end, like, I became a counselor. And before he passed, I had lost contact with him. He was a teacher at LAUSD. And but it's crazy how God does things, because I had lost my father, and then I became a dad. And you talk about, like, women are good at this. Women are good at, they get together, they go out, right? Men don't do that enough. We don't do. That's why this is great.
It's so powerful.
So when we reconnected, he was there for me. He helped me through that time, and called me and just every morning text, man, like, hey, what do you tell me? It's like, hey, Daz, go seize the day, man. You're a great father. You're a great guy. Like, and I'm like, damn. But it was that, like, it keeps you going, And so I do that. Like, and it's crazy because he's gone. I'm doing that now with my students, and they call me and they're like, hey, man, Daz, thank you, man. Like, now they're grown and like, man, just because
They
of this
listen
and
to
that.
what you say, but they repeat who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
And you've become
Yeah, we don't get that
what
shit
was
enough.
invested
At
into
all,
you.
bro.
Roger Neal did that.
So Roger Neal, it's almost 10, man. Who's somebody, Wolf, that outside of your family, a mentor that made a difference in your life?
Nobody in my family. So outside of my family, one of the guys we're gonna watch from the video, LeBron James, Goku and Vegeta, these two characters from a cartoon called Dragon Ball Z. The way they operated, the Saiyan mindset of like get stronger in every battle and never give up and all that shit changed my life. Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. Uncle Phil, I mean, one of the best fathers I've ever seen in my life. And that includes Bill Cosby in the Cosby Show. Matlock. I swear to you, all these characters, TV and movies changed my life because there was nobody around. All my uncles were in and out of prison. So they changed my life by showing me what the fuck not to do. But the positive influences were almost all TV and movie characters, from fucking the skipper on fucking Gilligan's Island. Just some of the mindset these people had, and just like, okay, this seemed like being good for goodness sake actually meant something to me. And it was like, okay, well, these people that are writing these shows are still like masters in bachelor's degree scholars that probably grew up with two-parent households, and this is what they think a good man or a good father is. Why not just do that? It seems like at least there's a consensus, obviously, of every fucking show you watch. Good fathers kind of have a checklist of what they're doing, or good men in general has something what they're doing. How do 100 people in 20 different shows write the same character? There must be something right about this. Scientists can't put something out in the world unless it's peer-reviewed. This is obviously peer-reviewed. If everybody comes up to one consensus, do that.
Right.
To me, that was just common sense.
Yeah.
So I fucking followed. And now everybody's like, when I meet girls, they're like, oh, where'd you come from? You're so this. I'm like, I don't think I'm special. I just, this, check mark of what a good man was supposed to be. I like not cheating.
I came from
It's
prime
interesting,
time.
man.
Not
That's
fucking
pretty
cheating.
crazy.
It was
Yeah,
You know what's
exactly
crazy?
right.
My dad didn't cheat. I didn't get that from no man. It was me and all my friends did that. That was my culture.
That was your
where
homies right there.
That was me and all my homies. Yeah. My dad was a one-woman man. That's just how he
Your
was.
dick was
That's a
twitching too
trick.
much.
Mario, who's somebody made a difference in your life, man?
I mean, to me, the person that made the biggest difference in my life was my dad. He was. I mean, he passed away 6 years ago, or about to be 6 years ago. But that's a man that, honest to God, he's probably the biggest influence I've ever had. And to me, it's like if they say, "Who's your superhero?" To me, it's my dad. Above everybody else, above every Superman, everybody else. I grew up, and my mom and dad were married for like about 50 years when he passed on.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Man,
So
that's pretty
he was
cool.
always the kind of guy that I became an entrepreneur because of him. He will tell me, like, just follow your dreams. You're gonna fail a shit ton of times. Like, he will give me all the advice that I give now. He gave it to me, right? So that was like the number one, person in my life. If I had to go outside of my family, it was a cop from the Bell Gardens Police Department, Officer Warren. When I was out on the streets doing, crazy shit and acting a fool, and I was very active in the streets, he was the one that he'll pick me up at 2:00 in the morning, walking home.
Wow.
Right? And he'll be like, get in the car. He'll take me home. And in the way home, he always tell me, like, Mario, you're too smart for this shit. Like, what are you doing here? So he would always give me advice. He literally stopped by my house just to make sure that I was home. And then he'll be like, all right, get in the car, let's go. I'll go eat to a freaking, we'll go eat a burger joint. That's how I build love for cops as well. So I remember I used to tell the homies too, like, not all cops are bad.
100%.
They'll be like, oh, fuck the cops. I'll be like, nah, Charlie, like, not all cops are bad. Some of them are cool. But I was shot at one time. Just to give you an example, I was shot at one time, and I was freaked out. This cop actually came. A bunch of cops came. He pulled me in his car, took me home. He stayed outside my house with me probably because I freaked out. I was 14 years old. First time I ever been shot at. Stayed outside my house in the driveway with the cop car probably for, I don't know, a good 2-3 hours. I know I took some time out from being on the streets patrolling, but he's just talking to me.
He reinstilled
telling
the
me.
feeling of safe
Yeah.
in you before you went
So
home.
he was a big somebody who I used to look up to who made a change in my life. He really did. Outside of my
we
dad.
were talking before the business about like caring for people in death, right?
Yeah.
Ariane just talked about losing his dad. I lost my dad 4 years ago. You lost your dad. Sometime on Dad Academy a few months ago, I did a reflection about losing my dad because as a pastor, right, I walk with a lot of guys through this.
Yeah.
And I've never met a man who wasn't surprised about the impact of losing his dad on his life. It wasn't just that he lost his dad. It's a funny thing when you now become the top, or the word is the patriarch, right? Like now you're the dude for your family.
Yeah.
You're the dude for your family. There's nobody above you, and the weight of that, like
I don't even have that. My dad's still here. You know?
Yeah, it settles. Like we think that it's heavy being a guy. When you don't have your dad anymore, whether he was involved or not, it really is who? Like holding your baby is one thing, right?
Yeah.
A sense of responsibility. And then for me, the next one was like losing my dad. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm the one in charge now. Yeah. Like I'm the go-to guy. Like that's a whole different whole different thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I totally get that. I think, when we talk about mental health, or next time that we do this sometime.
Yeah, we gotta do another one.
We gotta talk about that because a lot of guys out there
big,
are still reeling because they didn't realize that transition would hit them so hard.
See, because I mean, like we just piggyback on what you said earlier about like depression. You go to depression for a long period of time, and I had great parents, amazing parents, right? My grandparents were great. Like you said, they were married, like generational. They were always married and together, right? But for a period of time, I used to think it was normal to think that taking your own life, putting a bullet to your head was normal to me. That was normal. And I thought every guy felt the same way.
Yeah.
Like I literally went through many years where I for those who don't know, I used to obviously I was in the life. I used to carry a gun at a very young age. There was many a times where I put that gun to my head thinking it was normal. I'd be like, man, give me a reason why not to pull the trigger. But that was very normal to me. It's not fucking normal for all those out there that are thinking of stuff like that. It's not normal. You should get together, and I encourage everybody to find a friend, find a pastor,
Bro, for
find
sure.
somebody to
You're
talk
right.
to. I found a priest that I used to talk to a lot. He passed on a couple of years back, Father Ramon. God rest his soul. But he was the one that used to tell me, like, that's not normal, dude. Like that's not normal. I'm a guy so anytime I needed to talk to somebody and my dad wasn't around anymore, I will call him.
Yep.
And it was like, that was a conversation. Find somebody to talk to. It's not normal to try to take your own life or think it's normal to take your own life. Depression is real, but there's always people out there that will talk to you. And you're not a bitch for talking to people. You're not.
Bro, for sure.
I
For
think
sure.
man fellowship is important because I know it's late, but the last thing I was gonna say is sometimes, like you said, depression. Sometimes, like my mentor would do that for me. He'd call me like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, I'm good. Why? He's like, "Man, you don't realize like how much stress you probably have." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I go to the gym, I work, I'm a dad. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Yeah, because you're constantly going, but I'm checking in on you. How you feeling, man?"
Yeah.
And we don't do that enough for
When
each
you
other.
pause, the world's
Right?
scary when we
That's what I'm
pause,
saying.
especially
So-
for entrepreneurs. Well, scary when you pause. So that's why we keep going, and I think that's why we are who we are.
On a mission, your worst enemy.
He's
is
like,
idle
take time to check
It
in.
is.
Oh, we
I'm
just
like,
talked about this on our last session. Like I was telling him, like, I've not slept in 8 months through the night. I'm carrying some stuff that's just going on in my life. Some of it is other people's stuff that I carry because of the job that I have.
dangerous, yeah.
Some of it is things that are going on with my kids that are all positive change, right? But like, if as a dad, if you could make it easier on them, like I don't want my son to be going through some of the same stuff that I did at 30, but yet we know that that shapes us. My own transition in life, like I got to figure some stuff out, and I'm grateful that I have friends.
We cannot bitch and complain. We got to
Oh,
get
yeah.
it done. We to ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have
That's part of
Like
it.
what you said, we don't have the
luxury.
luxury of being
You
depressed.
gotta man up.
That's
But-
why when we keep the video, it's a perfect segue. Is kind of like the men in this generation versus the previous generations. And right now, I love that we
Yeah.
have multiple generations in this room. And
What are you saying?
This video is going
I'll take you outside right now.
to.
I'll run, but I'll take you outside.
Let's show that video real quick,
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
John, since we're on it. Let's
By the way,
show
that's a
it.
bomb ass video, bro.
Yeah, it is.
I think I've seen it. I know who you're talking about on this. I
that
don't know.
Pena is something else, man.
Yeah,
He's
he
old
is.
school. So,
And he was from Boyle Heights too.
all right, that's good.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Hey, to remind you, you're going up.
There you
To
go,
remind
man.
you that, man.
I like that.
Let's go.
Look at the dream team right there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
these kids.
Correct.
It's not just business.
No.
Okay.
How to stand up like you had a pair.
Which gets us in. And that's what you're teaching these kids.
Correct.
It's not just business.
No.
Okay.
How to stand up like you had a pair.
Which gets us into the snowflake.
Oh.
You hadn't used that word 2 years ago.
No, I didn't.
What's a snowflake?
A snowflake is a kid, a guy or a gal, mostly guys that melt under pressure. As opposed to what they tell me. You know, God, every snowflake is different, Mr. P. You know, there's not one snowflake that's the same as the other. The trillions and trillions and trillions. I said, yes, that's correct. That's correct. And he says, and so we deserve to be here just like, no, that's not correct. In your opinion, snowflakes melt under pressure. I gave you a couple stats at dinner. I'm going to say them again. They're worth repeating. In 1986, the average man's handshake pressure was 118 pounds. 30-year-old man. I forgot to put the age. 118 pounds. 2016, 96 pounds. A woman, 1986, was 105 pounds. Today, 110 pounds. 110 pounds. Testosterone levels in sperm counts tested 50 years ago, and today they're producing 60 to 70% the amount of testosterone levels in sperm counts as they did. We're dying out.
Why? The liberal media.
No, it's not the liberal media. I mean, I think World War II had a lot of positive effects on us. I'm a product of that generation. The greatest generation, they call it.
Because they came back as tough
but
bastards.
it's like talking to the Japanese now. They're deathly afraid of everything because of the war, what they did. The Germans, Merkel, God love her, I mean, supporting the EU because of what I call German guilt. Okay? Everybody's scared to fucking death of what might happen. And so they want to come across as your friend. They don't want people to say bad things about you. They don't want to say, because Neville Chamberlain could have stopped Hitler 80 years ago. And so now we're overreacting. So the rubber band has been, is going back too much the other way. And it's just unbelievable. My dad, I'm glad he's not alive to see this, because the more snowflakes we have, the less the possibility of the Earth making it.
Okay, which you want the Earth to make
And
it.
yeah, I do. It's like my snowflake test. You know, the first question, paraphrasing it. By the way, we have 95.4% of everybody, many thousands and tens of thousands that have taken the test, are cunts. And I don't mean cunt, vagina, I mean cowards. First question on the test, paraphrasing it. What would you do if somebody spit in your wife's face? And the answers range from, well, I try to ascertain what kind of day he was having. And if he had a bad day, I try to be understanding. Are you fucking shitting me? I'd be in prison for murder. I would beat the guy to death. Or if I couldn't beat him to death, I'd find somebody in a pipe to beat him to death.
Is that what we need today? Everybody?
No, I'm not saying that's me though.
Okay.
Where I come from, the barrio, you spit in a guy's mother's face, you're a dead fucking man. I mean.
And you'd like to see more of that in the world?
No, right now we're way over at this end.
Okay.
You don't have to come all the way to my end. And but I mean, that's awful. I mean, and then there's 22, 23 questions. And it's foreign to me that people would answer a question. I would try to ascertain what kind of day he was having. What the fuck does that have to do with spitting in your wife's face or your mother's face?
All right, so you're trying to de-snowflake these men and women, get them to stand up, get them to go out, face their fears.
And they know they're snowflakes, and that's why they come to me, because they think I'm the alpha male dad they never had. They say during private time, I'm a cunt. I don't want to be a cunt. How can I change? My dad was a cunt. I mean, I hear my great-grandfather wasn't. He was an airborne ranger in World War II. I hear, but he was dead already.
No male role models.
When I was growing up, my dad's 5 or 6 best buddies were all tough fucking guys. So I didn't see anything different. They were all just, you know. I tell the story. It's not a story. My cousin, God love him, he went to jail for being involved in stabbing a guy 17 times because somebody said, your girlfriend's got a fat ass. Looks like pigs in a gunny sack. He stabbed him 17 fucking times. Only by the grace of God, he couldn't stab it right, and the guy didn't die.
That's where you come from. Okay, and you're not advocating that,
No,
but you're
no,
saying
not
let's
at
go
all.
more back to that
No.
spectrum.
But I am advocating that the guys act like they had a pair.
His generation, his father, how like they grew up different, and again, maybe not going so deep and fucking
Yeah, yeah.
sociopathic. But we're
That was the
in-
90s, you know what I mean?
but
Like,
we're in a weird
90s.
generation right now where it's okay to be really, really soft, and it's like it is okay to a certain extent, but it's not gonna work in adulthood because I don't care what generation you're in. It is hard for men in every generation, from fucking when we carry white spears as cavemen to now. You're as good as what you can provide, which you can go through. You're going to go through tough times. I don't care who you think you are. You're going to go through it. So the way we raise the kids that we're mentoring, by the way, coaches changed my life. All my coaches changed my life. I forgot. I feel so bad not even saying that when you asked me. But coaches, fathers, and he went through a generation where it's like that snowflake test. I took it before. And it's crazy because one of the times I took it, I was a fucking snowflake. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't fucking believe it.
Did you answer? I would ask him what kind of day he was having.
You know what's
Nobody in this room is gonna ask that. Even the pastor. God forget. I don't think if somebody spits your wife's face, I doubt you're gonna ascertain.
Bro,
At least
listen.
I don't know. I can't speak for you,
all
but-
the days before, like guns and stuff like this. I mean, I don't remember there not being a year through 8th grade that I didn't have a fight. Right, that was
Yeah.
just part of the
Bloody noses,
busted
busted
it's just
lips.
part
That
of
was
the
normal.
Sometimes
part
you
of the thing.
transition away from that.
And yeah, you grow up through that as well.
And you
So-
gotta celebrate your kids too. Like I celebrated my kid one time that I got called to school because he had gotten in a fight. So when I get to school, the principal tells me, "Well, your son got in a fight." I said, "So what happened?" I was about to tell him off or whatever. He's like, oh, these other 3 kids try to jump him. I go, so what happened? He beat the 3 kids up. I said, all right, so I'm taking my kid for ice cream.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking punish him for defending himself.
Defending other kids, doing the right thing is the right thing to do. Growing up like you had a pair is the concept of this, and a lot of times, what is it, physics? Every action has an opposite or equal reaction. So when it goes to you, it's like, oh, I had to, tell him, call me out on it, show me. Well, the rules of gangs: be seen before you're heard. That's why you wear your colors or your tattoos. Show me better you can tell me. Prove shit, don't bullshit. And so in physics, either you have opposites. So if it's a street kid, sometimes you got to go soft with him.
Yeah.
Opposite reaction. Sometimes you have to have an equal reaction. Well, all right, Vato, I'm about that life too. So you call me on my bullshit.
Yeah.
And we've all been there. Whether
Oh,
it's a coach,
yeah.
you can talk about the sports you've played, and like in the results you show when you teach a kid something and it actually works. Especially if it's like say if it's basketball, and he's right-handed. He's like, no, if you go your left, I know this guy. I watch tape, go your left here. If you pull up or you do this, and he does it and it works, you get that glee in their eyes, like, damn, coach knows what he's talking about, right? Whether it's your kids, right now, all that 3 hours in boxing, but the first time somebody fucks with him,
Oh shit!
and they like it kind of comes easy to them. That confidence they're gonna have, it's like, it's one of those kind of
Well, that's
that got you.
Well, crazy thing. But what's the in my book title? What's the first thing? Raising what?
Yeah,
Courageous kids,
Mhm.
right? That is part, and courage comes from the word core, which means what's at your middle. Sometimes courage looks like bravery, right? That I'm gonna step up and step into a situation that other people are afraid of, and then sometimes courage is holding back and restraint,
walking away.
So we've experienced tonight, just like these are 5 guys in a room that. 4 of us have never even talked to each other face to face
Most
before,
people
right?
would never guess it.
And so, we just see the power of just like getting guys that are willing to be authentic, not try to front up, and how important it is. Like, I wrote this book, to try to help dads have a plan, right? Being a dad's the only thing we do without a plan, right? We just kind of wake up and go, no, what's going to happen today? You go to the gym, you got a plan, right? You go to the grocery store, you got a plan. And being a dad, the most important thing, like we're not thinking through strategically, how do I avoid them becoming a snowflake?
Yeah.
How am I going to train them? What am I going to put in? That was just the hook. The whole goal of this was to give a guy something to get him around a table to start talking about the most important things in their life.
Yeah.
That's the whole excuse for Dad Academy. To
That-
get guys around a table to start doing this, to talk about what's really important.
Well,
in
I
their
think,
life.
and that's the thing too, is I feel like a lot of us know, more or less what's important at this. But what's crazy is when you dial in on it, and you start focusing more on it, because you have some, like when you started coming in, I knew a lot of this stuff already, and I was doing it. But now I feel like I'm focused more on it. Like I'm dialing in more.
Intentional.
Yeah, it's more intentional, and it's like I'm exercising that muscle more to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And that's the hard work of being a man, right?
Yeah.
In every area of our life, the things that we're going to be the most, let's not even say success, because I don't know how we measure success, but the thing that's going to bring fulfillment and significance to our life are the things that we're intentional about.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
At all different stages where we're at with our kids, even with grandkids, like, bro, Mario, let me know. I'll give you like 3 books, and you do them with your son-in-laws who are raising your grandkids, and just make sure, hey, we're gonna be on the same page of this stuff, because we're not gonna be passing stuff down to them. We're gonna pass the best stuff down. And so that's the dream. And guys, man, it was dope.
Yeah, it was dope.
Being here tonight, and I'm sure we're gonna
definitely do this again, man.
Do this again.
Yeah, we gotta do part
Can I
2.
leave one message for the dads to be, dads that are now? If there's one thing you want to be like, okay, what can I leave my kids with? Teach your kids to fall in love with the roots of the flower, not the leaves. Because if they fall in love with the leaves during autumn time, they're gonna have a hard time. Right? Leaves come and go. Bad times are going to happen for your kids, for us, no matter what. You cannot avoid it. It's a duality. But if they fall in love with the roots of that plant, then they'll be able to stomach everything. So teach your kids to fall in love with the roots and not the leaves. because if not, they'll have a hard time during autumn.
That's the truth right there. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys
Yeah,
coming
man.
on. You guys
Yeah, all
killed it
good.
today. So we'll close out. We're gonna do Shed the Sheep.
Hold on. I like that picture. Everybody scooch
let's
in
do it.
real
I
quick
know, that's
before
cool.
we. John, keep that. Can you full screen that, John? That little camera shot right there. Got it right here. Yeah,
John
there
is
we
our
go.
producer, guys.
All
Probably the
right.
greatest producer in the world.
Okay. All right.
Then
Now
we'll
we're
get John
ready.
in here. All right. So on 3, Shed the Sheep. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Shed,
Shed
the
the
sheep.
sheep.
Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
Your boy Mario.
The Wolf.
Wolf West Coast.
S.A. Daz.
PJ with that Academy.
We appreciate you
Yeah,
guys
great.
watching. I love this panel. It was badass.
Fun, man.
We are definitely gonna have to do part 2.
Bada
Peace.
bing, baby
We're
bubba.
out. Let's go.
Shout out to Dad Academy.